Hello and welcome to This is MediaCity. I'm Stephen Chapman. Today we are joined by Unity Radio. So please like, subscribe, comment and share. Here's what's coming up.
It's just sick, like having like your community or people from Manchester being able to hear you and like getting calls and they're like, I've just heard you on the radio.
We had a lot of music that was created through people's PlayStations. Pirate radio was what catalysed the UK music scene, and we were at the core of that.
We're almost like kicking down doors a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we're
Literally
opening those doors for the next generations that are coming, and then one day MediaCity will be so diverse that it won't even be
a problem.
This won't even be a topic.
If you're watching this, you may have noticed that we're not in our usual studios. That's because we thought we'd go and find out what Unity Radio is all about. So before we head back to our couch and meet this week's guest, we met up with the founder and CEO, Jon. I'm going to show this off first of all because we're currently in MediaCity, which you would think is the home of like the BBC. We've got ITV here, We've got loads of all these things. This is where Unity Radio started. Illegally, running from the police in Moss Side. Yeah, and you would have which are you? Show me which you were.
I took the photo.
You took the photo, so you mean you got out of that?
I'm still there. I did, no face, no case, the kids say nowadays.
So how have you moved from kind of like running around doing all this kind of illegal radio into coming into Blue Tower and doing what you do now?
So 2001 we were in, this was my flat. We came together just as creatives, graffiti artists, DJs, MCs. Nobody at the time would give us any platforms to actually put our music out. So what was happening is we had a lot of music that was created through people's PlayStations. So in the early 2000s, you could actually make music at home. So pirate radio was what catalysed the UK music scene, and we were at the core of that.
So how did you get from pirate radio to, let's face it, you're established now. You're part of the establishment. Yeah. You probably won't want to admit it.
No. The irony behind it all.
How do you get from one to the other? Because it's been a hell of a journey for you.
I set up the radio station with two lads. One of them was called Robert Hargreaves and another lad called Wesley Mill. And in 2000, they both ended up being victims of a knife crime incident. So one of them got murdered and the other one was involved in a knife crime incident where, because he'd picked up a knife in self-defense, he got done for what they call an armed affray. So we decided that we wanted to do some positive activities. What we realised is that creative activities build resilience, and that is part of what we know today as creative health. But we were doing it just organically out in the community. So we then started working with youth offending teams, the local authorities, local police and public health teams then supported our application to Ofcom, where we ended up successfully getting a community licence. So that's the journey in the
It's an
story.
Amazing journey, and you've got like it's almost threefold what you do. You're finding new talent and helping them out. You're finding new musical talent and helping them out, and you've got a hip hop archive.
Hip hop culture is holistic. So we represent all of the elements of the culture. Wrapped all together, you can connect more authentically with everybody who you want to engage with. So the radio broadcast that goes out across the city, which then carries the credibility amongst the more motivated and rising creative stars, gives visibility of those pathways. So actually they can see local heroes who are actually going on and creating their own brands.
So what's next for you guys? Because you've come on a massive journey already. What happens next?
We're just now starting to bring through the next generation of young leaders, because hip hop's philosophy is about each one teach one. So it's very much about being able to network those young people together, because the ones who have visual skills can then represent graphics of those who have music, and those who have music skills might be able to represent and support those other creatives to be able to be better communicated through social media and marketing and promotion. So we just fuel that symbiotic, and it's an upward spiral of success.
Before you go, because I know you've got to rush off, I'm going to put you on the spot. We've got two amazing girls sitting on our couch that are going to follow you. Tell me a bit about Tsana and Aaliyah. They're both at different ends of their career, aren't they?
Really? They are, yeah. So Tsana actually is a music maker. So herself, she's actually a singer, very accomplished as well. And she comes through and she does a radio show, and she's able to specifically then bring her knowledge around R&B to the airwaves. Aaliyah, her music production's really good. And actually, the reason why you put me on the spot there is because just thinking back now, she actually had her music played on Unity Radio before she came into doing a music production course. Her music had already been shared as well at grassroots level amongst her peers. So that again just shows the relevance of the radio station, and then the ability to help foster relationships and actually upskill a lot of the young people that can get access to our provision.
Magic. Well, we'd better throw all the way back from your studio to our studio over there.
Fantastic.
And we'll go and hear from them. Thank you.
I'm Tsana. I'm a daytime presenter at Unity Radio. I'm also an R&B and soul singer. That's about it.
I think you're just starting, aren't you? So just tell me about where you're at. Because you appeared on Unity Your Music before you have.
Yeah, that's right. So my name's Aaliyah. I'm an artist. I rap, I write lyrics, and I'm currently learning production and like radio production as well.
So you're watching Sana and going, yeah, I might have your job in the future.
Yeah, give it a few months.
So tell me a bit about Unity Radio. Unity Radio is based in MediaCity. It's based in the Blue Tower. Give us a bit of a background about it, because it's a great place for finding new talent, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I've been knowing Unity for years. They were like one of the first platforms to support me and my music journey many years ago. So it's kind of like full circle for me, because they've supported my music, and now I'm kind of on Unity sharing music. But yeah, they're really supportive of new homegrown talent, emerging talent and established talent, very focused on not just Manchester, but definitely there's a focus on Manchester talent and kind of nurturing Manchester talent, but also just showcasing like black music across the world, which I love. I'm all about representation, so they represent the young people that just want to get into music some way, somehow. Unity are there to support that and nurture that and help you to kind of grow and develop in whichever way that you want.
And sitting next to you is someone who's going through that right now.
Yeah.
So what's it like when you did you send them a demo? How did you get your track on there?
I think I went onto the website, and they have an email at the bottom to send and submit music from, like, say, I think it's a different email whether you're from Manchester. Is that right?
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
A special fast track Manchester email.
Yeah.
Other people, and then they're down south.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think I just submitted it, and I got the good news that our songs was accepted, and it was going to be playing them and putting them on the playlist.
Was that the first time you got airplay?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I'm not talented enough to write music. What does it mean when you have your first, either of you, what does it mean when you hear your song for the first time on a radio station that you already listen to?
It's just sick, like, having, like, your community or people from Manchester being able to hear you and, like, getting calls, and they're like, I've just heard you on the radio. It's just, it's a good feeling.
And what about, because your music as well, I've heard some of your stuff online, you follow a great kind of list of amazing Mancunian singers. Where are you at in your career musically now?
Oh gosh, this is like the worst week for you to ask me this question, because I've had such a rough week this week in terms of my music. But I've been doing music for, I don't even want to put a number on it because it's that long. And I've stepped away a couple of times. I've had 2 kids, so I've stepped away from music, done mum, and then kind of come back to music. So I'm in the stages of coming back to music, which is difficult because it kind of feels like you're having to start all over again. But as challenging as it is, I've been I've been outside and I've been busy. So that's good. That's really great for the kind of the progression. I'm in studio. I released an EP last year. I released some singles. I put on a R&B event at Band on the Wall, which I headlined.
Nice.
So this year I'm going to be hopefully partnering with another R&B and soul singer to do another headline show at Band on the Wall, and I also want to release an EP with I want to say summer, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
So how difficult is it, and therefore how important, I suppose, is Unity Radio for young Manchester talent to kind of break through? Because I know the music industry is amazingly tough at the best of times, and we are definitely not in the best of times at the moment, are we?
No.
So how important is having a place like Unity to kind of find new talent, to promote new talent, to help guys like you?
I feel like they just offer so much support and give you so many opportunities and just like nurture, and just, to be honest, quite inspiring the way that like they look out for young talent or just talent in Manchester and so forth, and giving us like the platform to get that extra bit of recognition.
Is that the same for you?
Yeah, I agree. Years ago, Unity, they had an event where I was able to perform. It was kind of like a festival, and they had lots of different artists, and I was able to perform on one of the main stages there. And that was like at the start of my kind of career, and then they've always supported my music, playing my music on the radio station as well. So just having, they could kind of say, all right, here you go, we've done with you, we've kind of done what we need to do, and go off into the big wide world. But they don't. They still, years later are still been able to support me. So.
And that's kind of, I suppose, quite inspiring for you as well, coming up.
No,
and
it is.
Kind of working with people who've kind of been through it as well, is it?
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like, honestly, like the opportunities that I feel like and the doors that I feel like they've opened for me, like I'm so thankful, because not many other places or people or whatnot actually do that and take the time to just give you the support.
And do you think as a city we're promoting enough the non-white boy guitar acts? Because we do have some fantastic acts that don't fit into that Mancunian cliche. Do we need to shout out a bit more about
100%.
that?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm an R&B girly, so I'm always trying to champion like R&B and soul music. But then just also like on my radio show, even though R&B is kind of the core, I do play hip hop and grime, and I try to incorporate as much Manchester talent as I can, because for that exact reason that we have to work 10 times harder just to be heard or just to be seen, and then or we have to put on our own stuff. We do our own stuff, which is great as well. But then, the resources aren't as available to us, or the funding and things like that. So yeah, we definitely need to, I love hearing about the history of Manchester music and the bands and the Hacienda and stuff like that. But I don't hear about, Cleopatra, who were a Manchester-based, from Moss Side, black girl group who was signed to Madonna, and they influenced me greatly. I don't hear them along with the other, the Oasis and the big bands, and so I think that's still it's still kind of happening today, where black music in Manchester that is unsigned and underrepresented, we're not highlighted in the same way, and it's a shame.
It's a big history thing, because in like the ones you were mentioning there, like Hacienda DJ Paulette was there, and she should have a much bigger profile. And then Happy Mondays wouldn't sound the same without Rowetta. Primal Scream probably wouldn't sound the same without the late but wonderful Denise. So there is a history of how the white music wouldn't that guitar
Yeah.
band
Yeah.
music wouldn't sound anything like Manchester without
Yeah.
everything else, all the other cultures that come into it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I don't want our voices to ever be forgotten. Our voices need to be up there at the forefront along with everyone else's.
So what next for you two? Because obviously you've got, I mean, sorry, I'll go back a little bit, because obviously you're at the start of your career now.
Yeah.
And Unity is very much about giving you the education to take you to the next step. I don't think you've quite decided where you when we were talking earlier, it could be anything from acting to dancing to music to presenting to the world's your oyster, and you're kind of taking advantage of that. But is that Unity courses that you're doing at the moment? Is that the thing that's you're kind of jumping on and getting you out?
So I'm just trying to like educate myself as much as possible on like things when it comes to like production, like even just like how to be in interviews and whatnot. But I feel like the main thing for me is probably my music, like taking that serious and just taking the steps to become the best artist that I can be. And, you know, yeah.
You're nodding at that. Is that kind of how you started like this, thinking?
Yeah, just you're doing great, by the way.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I think there's no real manual to this, is there? It's like you learn as you go along, but I think you have to be like Aaliyah. She's putting herself in positions to where that support is available and where she knows she can flourish, and that's what you have to do. And I was saying this the other day at Unity Radio when someone asked me like how I got into radio, and honestly a part of it is like having delusion, like being delusional, because if you had asked me last year, or do you think you'll end up on Unity Radio as a radio presenter, I would have said no way, because I didn't have any radio experience whatsoever. But the day that I decided like, oh, I want to get into radio, that was it. And I remember telling my family like, oh, I'm going to be on Unity Radio, and they were like, yeah, but you don't have any experience. And I was like, yeah. That's the kind of delusion that you need, like, this is what I want to do, so this is what I'm going to do. And just putting yourself in those positions to be around the people that you know your dreams or your ideas can flourish, and they're not going to be judged, or you're not going to be kind of talked out of it. Instead, it's going to be like, well, that's a fantastic idea. What can we do to support that?
And has that changed in Manchester? Because I imagine MediaCity, when you first heard about this place or first came here, did you feel the doors were open? Go on, be truthful.
No,
you're gonna have to tell
not
me.
really. Not really. To be honest, like I just thought this was like a big posh like type of place, and there wasn't gonna be like, when I found out Unity was here as well, I was so surprised. Like, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't really see that this was where it would be, or you know.
It's good for MediaCity though, because it's showing that it's opening up, which is great. But I agree with Aaliyah. When I'm walking to the Unity studio, sometimes I'll be walking through MediaCity and I'm like, nobody here looks like me. I'm seeing people with heels and briefcases, which is great. I love that. But I'm like, there's nobody that looks like me. So the fact that I'm here and I'm representing Unity is great. The fact that there's people like Aaliyah that's here and representing Unity, it's great. It shows, like I said earlier, I'm all about representation. So, you know, I hope that MediaCity can become a place where people like me and Aaliyah can come and feel 100% comfortable. It's not a case of, oh, nobody looks like me. Am I going to fit in? Or there won't be any of that. So the fact that we're sat here in MediaCity, we're almost like kicking down doors a little bit. You know, we're opening those doors for the next generations that are coming, and then one day MediaCity will be so diverse that it won't even be
a problem.
This won't even be a topic, you know?
Exactly. And the reason I brought it up was because you kind of go around Media City, and I'm conscious that people look a lot like me, don't they? Let's be fair. And the more that Media City doesn't look like people like me and sound like people like me, then the hope is that therefore media doesn't.
Yeah.
Because we as you're saying, you're the start of the next gen, the next revolution, aren't you? We talked a lot about inclusivity, like with women and with things like, but we're not there yet, are we?
No, we're not there yet, and it will take time, and I'm aware of that. But it will take time. But we're planting the seeds now, which is great.
And your experience for both of you on Unity means that the world gets a bit smaller. Doors get a bit more open at other radio stations, presumably. Is that something you look at? I don't know. Have some alumnus from Unity gone on to bigger, better things as well?
Yeah. So people like Victoria Jane, who's now at BBC Manchester. She does like a soul show, R&B soul show. She started at Unity. There was someone else.
Is it DJ Rowesh?
Oh, yeah, DJ Roche. He does
that's
BBC Introducing. He started at Unity as well. So there have been a couple of people and a couple of artists as well, like Bugsy Malone, that have kind of started. Some of their music was first played on Unity. So, yeah, Unity.
You must be proud.
Yeah. And it's nice to kind of be a part of that, you know, like, and to see the work that has gone into it. You know, it's not just talk. Like, we're in it and we can see, like, there's actually action. It's actually, like, everything that Unity say they do, they actually do it.
And what do your friends say when you say, I'm just going to Media City to do my radio? Because you're you've been Wythenshawe, Salford, all over the place.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I feel like I'm in, like, not in a whole nother world in a sense, but I feel like I'm going up levels, like even just being in Media City and at Unity Radio, like, this is a big thing for me. Yeah.
But I suppose it's also a big thing to Media City.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've got to look at it both ways, haven't you, in a way. So what's next for you? God, I'll come to you first. What's next for you?
I think that what's next for me is dropping more music, learning more skills and putting myself in more places where I'm going to be noticed, or just putting myself out there a bit more, you know what I mean? So
you've got an EP to come out.
Yeah.
Lots of work. Have you got any advice for what you should do next?
Oh, gosh. It's difficult. It's challenging. I would say you have to prioritize financially. So that you can make the best quality music that you can.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, it does mean, like, I can't get my acrylic nails because, you know,
I'm always worrying about that.
I can't get my lashes, you know, because that money can go into studio time and mixing and mastering and rehearsal space. And so if it means sacrificing for a little bit, then that's just what we have to do. So be willing to make those sacrifices. But I echo everything else that Aaliyah said. Just keep kind of working and putting yourself in opportunities where you can be seen and kind of can learn and grow. I'm doing the exact same thing that Aaliyah's doing. I'm not doing anything different. I'm still learning. I'm still training. I'm still, you know, I think you always do that in life. You don't stop learning. You don't stop training. You don't stop developing your skills and your craft. You always want to do that. So I'm doing the exact same thing.
My team here, all graduates of the University of Salford, I can tell they've been looking at each other because I missed something really important at the beginning. Every show, and we're going to do it at the end because you were started so well. Every show, what we've been doing is we've been doing an icebreaker. So I don't know what we call it when we do it at the end of the show. If it's not an icebreaker, it's... I don't know. It's the reverse of an icebreaker. We've got some questions here, like either or, kind of yes, no, simple questions, just to kind of get a little bit to know you as well.
Okay.
So, who wants to go first?
Aaliyah.
Go on, pick a card, any card.
Favourite music track? I feel like my favourite music track right now, I don't know if you would have heard of him, but it's called Sa Baby and the song is Viking. It's got like a little viral dance at the moment where you like go against the wall and yeah, I don't even know what the dance is called.
Shall I give you one as well?
Vinyl or MP3? I'm going to say MP3 because I scratch vinyls whenever I try to play them. Yeah, my mum used to have like a record player and I used to get in trouble.
Well, I'll give you one more each.
Let me get a good one this time. Favourite film? I've got a few, to be honest. I feel like my childhood favourite film is probably Coraline or Flushed Away. And what else at the moment? Trying to think. Maybe Barbie. Barbie, yeah. Barbie.
Magic. Final one for you. Okay, for different.
Yeah. Watch or listen to podcast? I think it depends on the podcast. There's some podcasts that I have to watch because the people on them or the presenters are so engaging, or maybe they've got like an artist on there that I want to actually watch. But then there's some, like, I like to listen to a lot of like motivational kind of podcasts and things like that. So I listened to one yesterday where I could just listen to it. I didn't have to watch it because I just wanted to take in what was being said. So it depends on the podcast and the people that's on it, I think.
That was a perfect place to end because we, of course, you can watch and listen to us on all the great podcasting platforms out there. And This is MediaCity is a weekly podcast and it's produced by 39 Pictures on behalf of MediaCity and in partnership with the University of Salford, and all the team behind the cameras are University of Salford graduates. And we'll see you next week. The production team are Meg Bond, Tegan Easton, Akila Hewitt and James Young.